What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another reaction video. Today we are reacting to Yuri on Ice episode 2. If this is your first time at the channel, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Hannah and I am a competitive figure skater. I began skating over 20 years ago and coached for 10 years of that, so I like to say I know a thing or two about skating. Fun fact, Yuri on Ice was my very first anime, so this is my second time watching through this. This video is set up a little bit differently than what you might be expecting, as I'm not just reacting to this. I'm going to be pausing it, I'm going to be talking about the skating, giving my honest thoughts as an actual figure skater. And it just brings back so many memories because I watched this anime in 2016 when it was coming out, and it was a special anomaly. This was before I was an anime fan. I actually started watching anime in 2020, so this was like the different thing. I didn't watch anime, but I watched Yuri on Ice because everyone, including famous figure skaters, was watching Yuri on Ice. It was a special time. I will never forget what it was like in 2016. But I just like to throw out that disclaimer that it's not my first time watching it. This is not really a reaction video. This is a let's talk about how realistic it is and talk about the jumps and the spins and all that fun stuff. So that's what the purpose of these videos are. So we're pretty much gonna dive right in, but before we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on today's video. You can also follow me on social media. I am at Hannah Malay on Instagram if you're interested in more of my cosplay, my figure skating stuff, and my Japan content. That content will be there first. And then if you're more interested in my random thoughts throughout the day, occasional tweeting in Japanese, or my short form kind of cringe Demon Slayer content, you can follow me on TikTok and X, and that is at lookingnerdy, and then all of those social medias are linked in the description. The way every time I open Crunchyroll, I'm greeted with the Infinity Castle poster. We still have 6 months here. Ugh. As of right now, I'm recording this on March 18th, so Japan only has 4 months. I'm jealous. Oh well. I gotta be patient. It's like an out-of-body experience every time I turn on the episode and just immediately get greeted with this masterpiece of an opening. Whew, what a great way to get us started. Looks cold. I just giggle at the fluent Japanese in Russia. I know. Oh, he said something in Russian. Das vidanya. V-chan. I already got a nickname and everything. I just imagine what would have happened to me if, like, my favorite skater just showed up at my house and was like, I'm gonna train you. And I'm like, okay. I'd be so embarrassed. Here we go. Okay, I just have to pause it right here because this skater is so modeled after Ashley Wagner at the time, and if you've been watching any of my like medalist stuff, you might know Ashley Wagner is my all-time favorite skater. I've met her multiple times. She's super sweet. She's like the only skater that I follow post competitive retirement too. She has a podcast, all that fun stuff. Anyway, she posted a picture of this character, I think right here. I think she started watching it when she saw that because it's the red hair, the blue eyes, and the outfit. It's literally her when she was competing. So they were also using a lot of reference of other skaters, I believe, when they were making this. And it's just like, dang, it's Ashley. And I think when she posted that was when I was like, okay, I'll watch this show. Because I was in my, like, complete just all things skating when this show was airing. So, fun fact. just like watching him. Eh? The English is killing me too. Wow! Amazing! Bro. Wow! I'm dying. That's like kind of helpful because the hardest part about skating is competing. From a skater's perspective, that is so in violation of so many rules. Like, oh my gosh, if I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but yeah, that's violating the rules. Coaches having the same hotel room as our students, sleeping in the same bed, staying at the same house, like that's all very much in violation of, at least here, I don't know exactly, because we have safe sport here in the States, and I think that's just a US thing. I don't know what they have in Japan, I don't know what they have in Russia, but here, that's violating rules, for sure. 100%. Just throwing that out there. Yeah. It's like, you're a fanboy. You have, like, all of the posters and stuff, and now he's, like, trying to barge into your room. Konnichiwa. Hi. Easy quad flip. Told you, it's okay. Gonna bring a lot of attention to this ice rink. It'd be absolutely terrifying. Nearly all figure skaters have ballet training in some way. There's full ballet classes that they offer for figure skaters. A lot of rinks have ballet studios where they hire on ballet instructors just to come in and instruct skaters. And it works on so many things. It works on your flexibility. It works on your toe point. It works on your lines. It works on your hand placement. It is very, very common for skaters to be quite good at ballet because you work really hard at it and it helps supplement, you know, that artistic side of skating. I've even known skaters that got so good at ballet, the instructor wanted them to do point ballet. And it was like, no, like this has never been the main thing for me. This has always been the secondary thing to help with my skating. So ballet is a very, very prevalent thing for skaters. I think my first ballet class I took when I was 7. It's very hard. You can just tell that he is not a coach. So I've talked a lot in Medalist about how not all figure skaters can become coaches because there's just a lot of different things. Like, you can know how to do something, but knowing how to teach something is different. But in Victor's case right now, there's two sides of it. A lot of coaches do want to truly get to know their skaters and know them as a person and be invested in their life in general. While other coaches, it's more of a, like, they are just invested in their skaters skating. And there's good things and bad things about both sides. I prefer to have a coach that was very invested in my entire life and supported me in a lot of different things. My former coach, I remember when I got my first like big girl job where I stopped working at restaurants and started working in an office. When I told her, like, she came to the rink and gave me Starbucks and, you know, was like very invested in my just life as an adult. At that time I was 21, I think. So it's a different thing. Most coaches at the high level, though, usually tend to just kind of be the coach. But at the same time, Victor is only taking on Yuri, so he's obviously going to ask him, but he's very straightforward. Which is like, again, a lot of what he's asking could be considered violating rules. Because it is supposed to be a professional relationship. I know where we're heading. I do remember that. But anyway, it's just funny to me. Inside is... Am I watching this in dub or something? That's so funny. Here we go. I remember we got a rivalry coming up. I was gonna say, they're gonna have lots and lots of people. He's so hot! I mean, yes. The leopard print. You posted on social media. So he just did a quadruple Salchow, but he did like some 3 turns out of it. So he gets the base value for that quad Salchow, which is very high, especially in junior level. I believe, I didn't see the men's free skate at Junior Worlds, I don't think. That just happened a couple weeks ago. But I believe you can still win without a quad if you're just like a really good, well-rounded skater. But what he did is he did the quad Salchow, but then he got negative grade of execution on it because he didn't perform it well. So he didn't get the full base value of points because when you get negative grade of execution, they take away points from the base value. And also, he didn't fall, which is good because a fall, just you keep piling on the points getting taken off of your score. But it can affect his component scores with that performance and execution mark because now he's not skating a perfect program. Probably the reason why his coach is mad right now is because when you go out there and you do something that's maybe too difficult for you and you don't perform it perfectly, it can still end up costing you more points than just doing something that you know how to do well. Because a base value is based off of difficulty, but then the grade of execution is based off of how well you do it. So if you go out and you do a jump that is high in base value, but you don't execute it well, you can still lose more points than if you just do something that is a lower difficulty, so a lower base value, but you perform it so well that you add so many points. So it's give or take. Mm. That's right. Pausing again. So when it comes to coaching, usually skaters at high level like this have an entire coaching team. So what he's asking Victor to do is not necessarily to coach him, it's to choreograph a program for him. And in skating, there are a lot of choreographers that are specialists in just that. They don't teach skaters how to jump, how to spin, the technique of all that stuff. They work with a skater for a period of time each season to create their programs before that skater goes just back to working with their regular coaching team. In skating, there are all kinds of different specialists, and at the high level, you're going to have your main coach that does a little bit of everything, but you're also going to have a jump technician, a spin technician, a choreographer, an off-ice technician, a ballet instructor. So what he's just doing here is he's asking Victor to choreograph for him, not necessarily to coach him. Okay, here we go. Ha. Yuri and Yuri. Futari Yuri. Just saying, if you get caught kicking one of your competitors like that, you're gonna get banned. Triple axel out of a spread eagle. Easy. You don't need to go back to Russia for that. Just have him do it there. Okay, I remember, yeah. One week is a very short period of time to learn a program and perfect it. It's Yuri versus Yuri! The headlines write themselves. Hot springs on ice. He's very demanding. Yuri yo. Victor is very Gojo coded. That sounds so nice. Rings here, don't do that. I'd have to like book private ice and it's so expensive to do that. I like how Victor just immediately was like, okay, Yuri-o! 1 week is tough to learn a new program and perfect it. However, if that's all the time you're spending every day, like you're just spending hours upon hours of it, then you can do it. I remember where this is going to. It's all coming back to me as I watch this. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, skaters almost always will have a, what's the word? A style. So, most skaters will always lean heavily towards a comfort level. And some skaters will prefer, you know, like the slow, more expressive in this way, where it's like a beautiful piece of music with violin, more classical. And then other skaters tend to lean more towards the sassy, sexy, you know, just kind of like, give me some shoulder shimmy. And then there's some that are kind of more in the middle. There are few skaters that can do all of it. You usually can tell like if a skater is doing something that's outside of their comfort zone because they usually skate in a way that kind of, to me, at least tells me they're a little bit uncomfortable. In the case of currently, I would say someone like Kaori Sakamoto, she is a skater that I feel like she's most strong at like the powerful music because she's a powerful skater. She really is very fast. She has a deep knee bend. Her jumps are big. She's very explosive and kind of wild. And that's more of her style. But this year, she's skating to All That Jazz, the Chicago soundtrack, in her free skate. When I saw her first skate, I was a little like, I can tell this is outside of her comfort zone. Just because it's still very big music, but she's not into the, like, shoulder shimmy, sassy, you know, kind of, like, playful side. She's more big and explosive with, like, just bombastic music, classical music. But as she has done this program over and over again, she's getting more and more comfortable with it. Ashley Wagner is kind of the opposite of that. She always does the very like sassy, like one of her most well-known pieces of music was Hip Hip Chin Chin, where she's all out there doing her shimmies and flipping her hair, flipping her ponytail, you know, doing all that fun stuff. And then when she skated to Romeo and Juliet, which is very emotional, she definitely was outside of her comfort zone. In fact, she ended up switching programs because she just couldn't skate it well because she just didn't like the program. So there's definitely very much so every skater will have their comfort level, but if you want to surprise, and the whole point of what Victor is trying to introduce them to is go outside of your comfort zone. Surprise the audience. It's very obvious that means that you're going to skate to the piece of music that doesn't speak to you, that you don't want to do, because you have to force yourself outside of that comfort zone. Oh! Dang! Wow. Wow. He just said some fighting words with a smile on his face. Now he's going on an extreme side and saying, you'll be my coach, not just my choreographer. Very different thing. Okay, so that was Yuri on Ice episode 2. So I'm just gonna say this now. This show is definitely a lot more on the theatrics of skating than something like Medalist is. So again, it's kind of hard for me to relate to this like, they're getting things right. Like, when it comes to what the jumps are, very realistic. You know, I keep mentioning it's funny to me that they're all speaking fluent Japanese. Of course, like, in the real world, there would be a huge language barrier. And people do go work with coaches from other countries that speak other languages than them. And many times they actually have to work through a translator in order to be able to work with that coach because there is such an extreme language barrier. So the English words is funny because I know English is considered to be kind of the universal language, so everyone tries to learn that, but it just makes me giggle a little bit. But that's not really a skating thing. That's just Western shows do that too, where just everyone's speaking English, and it's like, this person is German, this person is Japanese, this person is Italian, this person is Korean. You know, like, they wouldn't be speaking fluent English. There would be a huge language barrier happening here. But I digress. I think my biggest question is, I'm wondering if they looked into at all what the requirements are to actually be able to coach someone. So, like, here in the United States, for reference, if I wanted to get back into coaching, there's all kinds of memberships that I have to join. There's continuing education I have to do. I have to pass some tests to prove that I know skating. And of course, that's in the United States. And so in order to be able to be, like, credentialed at a competition, which means you are at the ice with your skater, putting your skater on the ice, as we call it, you have to have certain memberships proof. You have to be a member of the Professional Skaters Association. There's all kinds of things you have to do. And then the higher level your skater is, the more you have to prove. You have to do certain higher levels of continuing education, which means you're, like, taking tests every single year and that sort of thing. Again, that's just in the United States. I don't know what it's like in Japan. I'm assuming they're pretty strict as well, that, like, a coach just can't show up and just start coaching. In the case of this ice rink, of course, it's very different because this ice rink obviously doesn't have much going on. Most ice rinks also just have rules. Like, you have to prove that you're a member of X, Y, and Z. You have to prove that you have your accreditation for certain levels and that sort of thing in order to even just be able to coach at a rink. And then you're also paying fees in order to coach at that rink and that sort of thing. They're not really digging deep into that. I think that would be very boring for a regular audience, but I can definitely say that this show, I feel like it's a good mix so far of realism. You know, they're getting the jumps right. They're showing the steps correctly. You know, it's not incredibly unrealistic like Ice Princess is, which, by the way, if any of you ever want me to react to Ice Princess, that was my guilty pleasure growing up because that movie is just all kinds of unrealistic, but it's so fun to watch. Let me know. I'll react to that one. But it's definitely leaning more towards like the theatric side and just the making everything a competition, that sort of thing, than Medalist does. So it's interesting to try and call this one. It's a very different feeling than Medalist, but yeah, I'm going off on a tangent right now. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. If you liked this video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on today's episode. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Hannah Malay on Instagram and at lookingnerdy on TikTok and X. But with that, thank you so much for watching. Matane!